I felt like a wave would be appropriate there. I thought it'd be a bit ministerial, a bit presidential maybe. In fact, I just felt a bit weird doing it. But hey, we'll get going. Welcome to RMS 2024. Just quick show of hands. Who attended last year? Plenty of us. So if you're here for the first time, please put your hands up. Great. We'll let you introduce you to this thing, right? The biggest couch in retail media. God knows where we store it. But I'm glad to see it again, and I'm glad to see you here as well. Listen, Jesse, thank you very much for the introduction. This has been billed as an honest discussion, an honest debate even, over what I've seen in the market over the last 15 or so years. I was watching our speakers earlier, and despite being one of the youngest, I look one of the oldest, which will tell you that retail media has taken its toll on me personally. But I will try my very best to walk you through some of the principles and the theories that have come through during that time. So let's get going. Let's start with this passive-aggressive slide. Before we dive into today's topic, I want to take a moment to set the record straight, okay? And be really clear in terms of our view, my view, on what retail media really is. Many people still misunderstand it, thinking it is solely about digital ads or online promotions. But retail media is far more than that. It's not just confined to the digital world. At its core, retail media is any form of media that is powered by retailer data. This can include anything from online ads, out-of-home media, connected TV, social media campaigns, in-store displays, and even sponsored products. What ties it all together is the use of first-party data from retailers to target consumers more precisely and effectively. Whether digital or physical, the power of retail media comes from the fact that the retailers know their customers and can help brands reach them in a more meaningful way. I really loved Jess's answer earlier on about how she starts with data. If the data and the insight isn't right, how can the creative work as hard as it needs to? And look, retail media is often thought of as something to be quite uninspiring. In fact, the common perception of retail media campaigns is that it will come in the form of something simple, like a barcode, like you see here, or even a banner on a retailer website. However, the reality is this couldn't be further from the truth. Best-in-class retail media campaigns are able to leverage a wide variety of diverse media channels. The key differentiator for successful retail media campaigns is their ability to leverage retailer data at every stage of the funnel. For example, the Boots Media Group campaign that we've got here is a great illustration of that. Boots didn't just rely on one channel or one touch point. They utilized their vast pool of first-party data to create a multi-channel campaign that connected with consumers across multiple stages of the customer journey. Boots' first-party data underpins insight, targeting, creative, and measurement for retail media. The example of an omni-channel approach driven by Boots' data enabled them to tailor the message at every stage across various touch points from digital ads to in-store experiences. Now, some of you who did attend, and it looks like there were an awful lot of you, which is great, last year, will recall, I hope, when I talked about omni-channel campaigns, outlining that to achieve a successful campaign, a diverse media proposition would need to be easily accessible and customer-centric in its makeup. And I think it's fair to say that's what we've got here. And so the key takeaway here is that best-in-class campaigns, they just aren't siloed. They combine data-driven targeting with a full funnel strategy, ensuring that the right message reaches the right customer at the right time, regardless of the channel. And I can see Ollie Shea beaming with pride as I walk through that slide. And delivering a truly successful omni-channel campaign, one that leverages retailer data across multiple channels, requires collaboration across a broad range of stakeholders. It's not just a matter of creating great ads. It's about aligning various teams and partners to ensure the campaign runs smoothly, from start through to finish. And I'd like to hammer home a really important point. Creating this retail media ecosystem and managing all of these stakeholders, it is not easy. Now, I have been working in this space for some time, and I can tell you firsthand that setting up a successful retail media network requires an immense amount of coordination, planning, and buy-in from various teams. It's not just about having the right data or the right technology. It's about building an entire infrastructure that connects retailers, brands, and media partners, as well as those important analysts, in a way that ensures everything runs smoothly. And believe me, that is no small feat. And I know there's a lot of people in the room on all various flights in terms of their RMNs, but hopefully that touches you in some way. Let me talk about stakeholders and their objectives. Retailers are focused on driving sales and leveraging their customer data, whilst the brands in the room, well, they're looking to build awareness and hit their own sales targets. Our media partners that are here are optimizing for reach and frequency, while creatives are focused on delivering the most impactful message. And then we have the data and analytics teams, ensuring that everything is measurable and that we're optimizing in real time. And you can hear a lot about that from Bianca later on today. The key challenge is getting everyone on the same page, aligning these different goals in a unified campaign. And this requires strong leadership, clear communication, and a deep understanding of the entire retail media landscape. Now, I've encountered some significant challenges, roadblocks even, that can make or break a campaign or even an entire network. And so I wanted to touch on just a few of those today. I'm going to start with the first, senior leadership. First and foremost, buy-in from your senior leadership team is paramount. This is a common hurdle across all industries and all markets, but it's particularly challenging in retail media. The concept of an RMN is still relatively new to many organizations, and while the potential revenue and customer insights are huge, executive teams don't always immediately see the value, and in some cases, don't understand it. Leadership buy-in is what gives the RMN initiative and the momentum it needs to thrive. So seek it. Don't beat against it. The second is resource, or more specifically, a lack of it. It's another major challenge. Even with the best intentions and a great strategy, a lack of resources, whether that's budget, technology, or manpower, can severely hamper a retail media network's growth. Now, building an RMN is labor intensive. We can't avoid that, requiring a skilled set of teams across data science, ad operations, creative sales, and that's just a few. And if you're under-resourced, everything simply slows down, and your ability to execute, optimize, and scale is compromised. I've seen great ideas fall flat simply because the team didn't have the bandwidth to bring them to life. And in the same vein, finding people, the right skill set for all these specialist roles, it's not an easy job. Filling roles with the wrong people can just be as detrimental. I've learned that firsthand. Then there's the issue of having an unclear RMN point of differentiation in the market. In an increasingly crowded market, it's not enough to simply say, we have a retail media network. You have to clearly define what sets your network apart from others. Is it the quality of your first-party data, for example? The unique touch points that you can offer brands? Or the ability to deliver an omni-channel experience? Without a well-defined value proposition, brands may choose to invest in other networks that have a clearer and more compelling offer. And again, in my experience, lacking a strong point of differentiation can lead to stagnation, where brands are interested but don't fully commit. Transparency, another huge barrier I've encountered during the years, both internally within organizations, but also between retailers, RMNs, and their brands. Retail media thrives on collaboration. That's why we're all here today. But if there's no transparency around capability, performance, cost, or even the real benefits of a campaign, it erodes trust. And brands need to feel confident in their investment. And retailers and RMNs need to be open about their propensity to deliver a meaningful campaign in relation to the toolkit capability. I said earlier, I've seen campaigns fall apart, and I think this is true here. In fact, I've also seen things not even get off the ground because of this. And that's because the RMN, they were too reluctant to be honest with brands. And building trust with those brands and partners through transparency, in my view, in my experience, is absolutely essential for long-term and meaningful success. And the fifth, expectations. Now, management consultancies often present ambitious revenue projections for revenue. It happens week in, week out. Believe you me. That's why I got grey hair. While these figures can be tempting, it's crucial to stay grounded in the reality of your retail media network's core purpose, driving sales through a positive customer experience, particularly with the endemic brands that are on your shelves, both physical or digital. These brands promote products directly tied to your store, meaning the ad spend not only offers media revenue, but it also boosts product sales. And similarly, ensuring a customer experience isn't impacted by an influx of media. Now, retailers may question why you aren't aggressively pursuing greater ad spend or non-endemic advertisers, the golden word in the market. Now, on paper, sure, these could generate greater revenues, but it's important to manage these expectations from the very start. Setting the wrong expectations early on, well, that can lead to future disappointment, which often results in the success of a retail media network being measured in, quite honestly, an unfair manner. So if these are the things that I've learned, I kind of wanted to put them into context. And how are we playing this out in the market today? And the example I've got for you today is from our friends at Morrisons. Morrisons Media Group's Grow With Us initiative has been instrumental in addressing the 5 key challenges that often derail retail media networks. It's worth exploring how they tackled each of these head-on to achieve impressive results. So I'm going to come back to each of those 5 elements and think about how we answered the challenge. That lack of senior buy-in. Let's talk about that first. One of the most significant barriers to launching a successful retail media network is that buy-in. And the Grow With Us initiative was designed to align retail media with Morrisons' broader business objectives. And by demonstrating how media campaigns directly contribute to the in-store and online sales growth, MMG were able to secure strong leadership buy-in. And this internal backing has been crucial in giving the initiative the resources and the authority it needs to thrive. That second point, lack of resource. Retail media requires specialized talent, and that can be from media buyers all the way through to analysts. And MMG recognized that without the right expertise, they couldn't be able to deliver the value to the brands. And through the Grow With Us campaign, they invested in upskilling teams and bringing in external experts to bolster their capability. Now, this meant that they had the technical and creative expertise to meet brand needs and deliver high-performing campaigns, positioning the network as a trusted partner. Differentiation. That was my third point. It's a crowded retail media landscape, and that differentiation is key. The initiative worked hard to carve out MMG's unique value proposition by leveraging Morrisons' first-party data, strong shopper loyalty, and the distinctiveness of their audience, and also Market Street, their USP. The clarity of purpose and offering not only made MMG stand out, but it also allowed them to attract brands that wanted more than just generic ad placements. Lack of transparency, big challenge. And it's great, refreshing to see the conversation going on in this space over the last 12 to 18 months. Many retail media networks struggle with transparency, particularly when it comes to data and sharing and reporting. Often I found that's not from a position of want, more a position of where they are in their life cycle. Almost every retailer is platforming or moving to a new one, all with very sexy names. And it's also quite difficult to plug in and plug out, and that causes challenges. It can't be ignored. And MMG's Grow With Us campaign tackled this by directly establishing clear lines of communication with brands from the very start. They committed to full transparency around their media capability of what they could do, but equally what they couldn't do. They were also really clear on their audiences, on what they had and the depth and why. And this openness has fostered trust with brands, encouraging long-term partnerships and repeat business. Managing unrealistic commercial expectations, like every one-to-one with Sam. Finally, the initiative helped to reset commercial expectations both within Morrisons but also with the brands supporting that campaign. Retailers often expect retail media to deliver quick, high returns. The reality of that is it's much more complex. Grow With Us emphasized realistic growth targets, focusing on sustainable revenue generation over time, particularly with those endemic brands of a strategic nature. This managed expectations and allowed the network to deliver consistent, high-quality campaigns without being pressured into chasing unsustainable short-term wins. By addressing these 5 key challenges that I've outlined this morning, the Grow With Us initiative has allowed MMG to deliver impressive media campaigns. Better still, it's built a strong foundation for long-term success. And it's a blueprint for how retail media networks can confront the common obstacles that we've discussed. And at this point, you're probably saying, how? What did it look like? Well, it looked like this. You can see the fruits of the hard work from the teams. Some amazing campaigns that have been activated as a result of MMG's Grow With Us initiative. Without Grow With Us, Bringing this to life would have been an immense task for MMG. Having worked within that business for 2 years, I know firsthand it's taken an awful lot of energy and effort on all sides to achieve it. And so it's to initiative's credit that we've been able to launch such an exciting media campaign to brands and customers alike. We come to the end of my presentation. But before I head off to the bar, no, it's 11 o'clock, can't do that. I want to leave you with some critical takeaways that really sum up the heart of what we've discussed today. Number one, retail media is not easy. It's not a smooth ride, and it's often made out to be, certainly in the press. And honestly, it's time we stop pretending that it is. We have to stop glossing over the hurdles, whether it's securing leadership buy-in, managing evolving consumer behavior, or aligning disparate teams. Acknowledging these real challenges up front is the first step toward finding solutions that can actually work. If we're not honest about what's holding us back, how can we possibly move forward together? The second, I've said it several times already, but differentiation, transparency, and resource. These aren't just buzzwords. They are the make or break factors of any retail media network. If your network doesn't have a clear point of differentiation, if you aren't transparent with brands about how you can really deliver, or if you don't have the right people and tools in place, you're setting yourself up to fail. You can have all the ambition in the world, but without these foundational elements, even the best strategy will collapse. And then finally, expectations. One of the biggest traps we fall into is chasing quick, short-term revenue because it looks great on paper. But the reality is, those short-term wins often come at the cost of long-term success. Building a sustainable retail media network means focusing on what really drives revenue. Positive shopper experience, connecting brands that ultimately deliver retailer success. Setting realistic expectations from the start with your leadership teams and brand partners will help you avoid disappointment and set everybody on a clear path to growth. So, to wrap up, retail media is tough, but it's also full of opportunity if we face into these challenges together. Thank you, and good morning.